Hey there! How many volunteer hours of work do member organizations rely on? It's got to be a lot because when you count roles like organizing meetings and presenting and making phone calls and writing emails and promoting via word of mouth, not to mention all of the roles we usually associate with volunteerism, like board and committee work, that's a lot of volunteer hours. Now, if volunteers are not volunteering, member organizations cannot achieve their missions. So let's talk about how to radically increase volunteer engagement so that your organization can do the great things in the world that it is meant to do. In the next few minutes, I will share my definition for little v volunteer opportunities and big V volunteer roles and why it is so important to have an assortment of both of these kinds of opportunities for your members. And I'm also going to reveal 3 tactics to motivate and energize your volunteers. I have presented to hundreds of audiences of volunteers. These are usually leadership of chapters, clubs, affiliates, or special interest groups. And when I ask them what counts as volunteering, I get this super wide range of answers. They'll talk about being interviewed. They'll talk about stuffing bags, helping at the registration table. And all of these are little v volunteer opportunities. Little v volunteers roles are roles with a singular goal or output, and they tend to be very, very short in duration. These roles can span from a few minutes to a few hours to even a few weeks. I want you to think about even roles that take a little bit longer, like preparing and giving a presentation. That can still be a little v volunteer opportunity. Writing an article or a more lengthy white paper, still little v opportunity. Big V volunteer roles are the roles that we usually associate with volunteering. So they're your board member, your committee member roles. These roles last longer, like a year or a couple of years. And you might find when you're in these roles that you're doing any number of jobs within that role. So here's 3 strategies to create more volunteer engagement in your organization. Strategy number 1 is the volunteer funnel. So you've probably heard of the sales funnel, and the volunteer funnel is similar. So you get lots of people engaged in the beginning, and then you end up with people at the top in those big V roles. So let me explain a little bit about the volunteer funnel. So if you think about wanting to introduce a lot of people into volunteering, let's turn our funnel upside down. And at the bottom, you want to invite lots of newer members to get involved in those little V volunteering roles. And you want those roles to be quick and ideally fun. So invite some of your new members to be a chat ambassador for some of your virtual events. Invite them to do little things, maybe man registration at one event. Invite them to stuff programs into bags at one event. Little things where they can chat, they meet each other, they have a little bit of fun. And after these, very shortened duration jobs, maybe you ask them to step up a little bit more. And now they're doing some content creation. It's a little more time, a little more energy. And then maybe you ask them to step up and do something that takes a little more time and a little more energy. And pretty soon, those people that come back over and over again, they're ready for those, big V volunteer roles. Strategy number 2 is don't ask too quickly. So over the years, I've interviewed 477 members from 33 different professional and trade associations. And there's one thing that longtime volunteers say that panics newcomers, and that is you should think about joining the board. So when a newcomer comes to an event for the first time or the second time or the third time, they're wondering if they even want to be members. And so when somebody approaches them and says, you should think about being on the board, they panic. It's too much. They need to get the lay of the land. So wait a little bit before asking people to take on these big V volunteering roles. Remember that funnel. We want to do, little roles And if they keep coming back for more, then eventually you can ask them for those big V volunteer roles. Strategy number 3 is celebrate. I remember talking to a very active volunteer who raised funds for a charitable organization that he really believed in. That year, he put in all kinds of extra time and his passion to good use, and he raised over twice as much as anyone else. During the end of the year reception, he hoped that he might be recognized, even if it was just a one-to-one thank you from the executive director. But there was nothing. There was no mention, no private words of gratitude. The executive director didn't seek him out. Nothing. And you can imagine how he felt. In the world of work, we tend to very quickly go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. I am very guilty of this. And we need to celebrate, which I need to do as well. And so teams of volunteers really need to take time out to celebrate their good work. Leaders of volunteers need to recognize people for their contribution, especially those who are spending lots and lots of their valuable time. So, think about like quick thank yous for those little V volunteer opportunities and the longer thank yous for those big V volunteer opportunities. If you have questions about engaging volunteers, feel free to drop a question or a comment into the comments area. And don't forget to like this video. See you soon. Bye-bye.